Okay, so let's move to what we call the borrower journey. We have been at this for 3 months. Our entire team, combination of software engineers and developers, and I have a master's in organizational psychology. We've got forensic auditing, banking experience. But what this is going to come down to is the borrower journey. What is the borrower going to go through? So we've kind of mapped this out, and I wanted to show you this scenario. You've basically got Joe, the 62-year-old business owner, working with Karen, the 36-year-old controller, and they're coming out of their covered period. And this is a good representation. In all the borrowers that we've worked with and the consultancy that we have with all the folks, this is a good representation of what's going to be happening here in the next 3 to 4 months as everyone is looking at this application process. So we've got this covered period that now has been extended to 24 weeks. So should the borrower stick with the 8 weeks, or should they go with the 24 weeks? That's an entire set of calculations. They need to figure that out. And if they're going to go with the 8 weeks, are they going to have some form of scenario which is going to allow them a way to pay bonuses or hazard pay? So this is the scenario that we've got now. What is the determining factor for whether they're going to pay hazard pay or bonus pay? So that is going to depend on several factors, the safe harbors and the average FTEs. So you don't just come out of the covered period, you have to be looking at the application preparation. So you have both of these side by side. So what are the user actions? They're in this swim lane here. The touch points are going to be here. The emotions before you solve the problem here. The pain points are going to be here in red, and then our solutions of how we see this actually working. So that's kind of the roadmap of what we're going to look at here. And then we're going to look at how we've solved that problem. So you've got the finished covered period, the application preparation time, then you submit the application, then the lender review, then the SBA audit. So that's what this looks like, and you can grab this document and go through it in full detail. I'm just going to run you through this very quickly. So the finished covered period here, the touch points are the forgiveness calculators, the lender Q&As, the advisors, the articles. Everything is going to lead you to some form of decision. What are the pain points? Incomplete instructions from the SBA, from the Treasury. The lack of lender answers. They didn't create this program. This isn't their program. They may be an SBA lender. This program didn't exist 4 months ago. So they're trying to catch up as much as everybody else and trying to interpret all of these rules and regulations and IFRs and the applications that are coming out. And the FAQs are helping, but I got to tell you, folks, we talk with a lot of lenders, attorneys. Everyone has their own opinion. This is not a set path right now. So there's a lot of anxiety. And with all of that going on, you've got business owners trying to run their business during this pandemic and in a country that's honestly got a lot of challenges right now. So what do we see as that solution in this coming out of the forgiveness covered period? It is providing a comprehensive roadmap with step-by-step instructions so that we give the answers to the borrowers and we give them what we don't have yet and what is remaining to come, but options for them. Not just, hey, we don't have guidance on that, but here are your options because we don't have guidance on that. So then you move to the application process. And let's say they decide we're going to go to the application process. We've decided 8 or 24 weeks. If it's 24 weeks, there's still some things that need to happen, but basically you now have to monitor that. And then you have to assemble the right information. So what does that look like? You have to identify all the necessary documents that you need. You have to start assembling the components of what your lender is going to tell you. So the touch points are your lender portal and instructions, the payroll processing company and the accurate reports, the SBA applications and instructions, your CPAs, attorneys, all your advisors. they're going to have to come to the table and start letting you know what is it that you're going to have to put together. Sad face. It's just not a fun time for anybody looking at assembling all this information. So what are the pain points? Too much information to digest. There's just too much. And there's anxiety with the borrowers. What's the right information to assemble? Am I even doing this right? Am I going to get full forgiveness? Have I interpreted this properly? And then there's just too much inaccurate back and forth. We call it the triangulation dysfunction of communication with the lender, the CPA, the borrower. Because the CPA is still trying to catch up, and they have tax returns that they're going to be doing here in July. So they're going to be going to the SBA, and the SBA can't comment, so they go to the lender, and the lender is, hey, you've got to advise your client. You know, we have the same information that you do. You can interpret it, you know, however you want. So then the CPA goes to the borrower, and the borrower gets stuck in the middle. So what's the solution there? What's the solution during this assembly period? You have to walk the borrower through step by step what to assemble and get the right information and put it in a systematic fashion so you leave nothing to chance. Go here, calculate your FTEs by doing this. Get this information, get these hours, put it here, upload it here. That's the process, and we're going to show you that in just a moment. You minimize the borrower having to do all these complex calculations. How do you do that? It's a very interesting question. I'm going to show you in just a moment. So now we have submitting the application. So you have to sign on to the lender portal. You have to confirm that the lender portal has the accurate information and that you're uploading it to the right place. Then you have to confirm all your information with your CPAs or your controller or Karen in this instance, and ensure that you're doing the right calculations the right way, and then you start entering information into the lender portal or wherever you're going to be entering this information. The touch points are the calculation templates that you've got, the portal Q&As to figure out each step of the way, what's happening, the instructional videos, if there are any, is a very good idea, the guidance from the lender, and the CPA and the advisors. It's a sad face, but when you're done, it's a happy face. But are you going to get done? What are the pain points? The portal doesn't match the information that you've assembled. They're asking you for something that you've assembled, but it's different. And they don't take it. They don't accept the information, and they want you to go back and reassemble it. Or they ask for information that you don't understand. You don't get what they're asking for. And so you upload it and it just spits out garbage. And it's like, this isn't working. You need to go redo something. Or they don't provide a step-by-step for exactly what to do and when to do it. So what's the solution? It's having one system from the beginning, assembling and preparing all the right information the right way so that the lender's portal is taking systematically every piece of data and putting it in the right place so that the lender can then see it when it is uploaded the same way every time. Then you can answer questions. Then you can ensure that everybody has got the answers and they feel comfortable. So what does this look like? What does this look like? Well, for the forgiveness generator, it looks like this. We start with a EZ form, qualification. Do you qualify for the EZ form? And we take a look at your tax returns, if you're Schedule C, if you're 1120S sub S corporation, if you're a partnership that files a 1065, all of those have different instructions. So how do we handle it? We ask specific questions. So now we start getting the borrower comfortable that we're thinking like them, that we're actually asking them who they are and what tax return they file so that we can then get the owner's compensation in the right place. Do they have employees? Did they have employees when they filed their application? If they didn't back then and they don't now, then they're going to meet the safe harbor and they're going to be able to get to the EZ form and not have to do any of these FTE calculations. But they can't have reduced anybody's pay that would normally be in table 1 in the regular 3508, which doesn't have any pay periods. You know, that's the biggest question. The table 1 and table 2 and schedule A, the schedule A worksheet, it is extremely confusing. And so we've had arguments with lenders and they're like, no, that's not what it says. And we show them what it says. So if anybody's had any compensation above the $100,000 limit in any pay period in 2019, they're exempt from this reduction of 25%. The SBA did this for the borrowers, but you have to understand what that means and you have to do it right. So we have all these questions that ask the borrower a few qualifying clarifications, and then we customize the application for them. And here's the key. We have all of these videos that go through each aspect, the owner's compensation situation. What is owner's compensation for a sub S? If you don't have a W-2 and you're a sub S, you can't qualify. You have to have W-2 income. But in a partnership, you can have line 14 of your K1 less line 12, but that's 8/52 of your 2019 K1. If you didn't have any back then, you're in trouble. And so you're going to try and qualify for compensation. The lender has to review all of this. Well, we centralize all of this. We put all of this in one area. We have every step of the way a video that outlines for the borrower how to do it and why they're doing it. And then we have other videos that go through. So if you have the Schedule A worksheet, we have an entire video there. If you have to look at wage reduction calculations, we have a 12-minute video on how to do it and why it's necessary. And so all of these videos is really what is necessary to help the borrower feel comfortable. So then here's what happens. You submit your information, and if you have our fully integrated platform, this is what the lender sees. They see all the companies, and obviously these are mock companies, but they see all the companies. Okay, widgets list. Let's take a look at widgets list. All right, there's the loan number. There's all of the information. Here are the key metrics that you can view and look at. Here are the audits that we customize so that the lender can see. The 40/60 rule is fine. They're under 2 million. The FTE audits are all fine. The safe harbors are all fine. Wow, $1.3 million forgiveness amount. Loan amount was $1.5 million. All right, how'd that happen? What are the payroll costs? Let's go take a look at what happens after the borrowers follow our step-by-step instruction and they hit the submit button live. This is what happens. And so they get a downloaded immediate 3508 form or a 3508 EZ form, whichever they qualify for. There are all the numbers. There's your $1.3 million for your payroll costs. So the entire package is right there. The lender sees it the same way every time. The lender sees all of these. They can easily review it. They can do hundreds, thousands of them. But the borrower doesn't have to go back and forth to the lender every time they have a question. The outliers and the other cases, and there's certainly going to be a lot of them. There was one today. They just keep coming up. But the lender has all this information that they can click and in 15 minutes can review a case done this way. Done the other way where you're uploading 42 documents to an email address or a portal, it just doesn't sound like a good existence for the lenders over the next 6 months. So what are the key solutions? This is it. We did a full webinar with lenders and we outlined. Folks, whether you work with us or work with a big tech company or software company or whoever it is, make sure these 6 items are present in your forgiveness application process. Proactively communicate with your borrowers in every way, shape, and form so that they feel comfortable that they're doing the right things, that they're not missing out, that they don't have to file for forgiveness right now. You don't have to advise them on anything, but keep them informed proactively. Preemptively answer the questions that you know they're going to have. We know what questions they're going to have. We've made videos about them. So do that. get your borrowers comfortable that they've got answers when they're going to ask them, and not in an email or on the phone. Do it in a centralized location. That is one of the biggest things. If you just walk away with anything, get a centralized location where you can have your borrowers go to, where you're going to update the guidance and update changes so that they know that if nothing is updated there, then nothing is changed. That's the best way to keep your borrowers comfortable, and you don't have to push emails and things to them all the time. Rely on that leverage by content, not by man hours. Most of the lenders we talk to are very nervous about all the phone calls and trying to hold the hands of the borrowers when you can do it with content. Then customize the application path for each borrower. Like I had shown you, get their tax return, get a few clarifying questions, and you can customize that. Well, we've programmed it. We've got principal engineers that work for billion-dollar companies on our team for this specific reason, so that we can customize it. And this is very interesting. The last one is standardize the information that's being submitted. So look at these two, customize and standardize. They seem to be on opposite ends of the spectrum. They're not. Customize the application for each borrower is allowing that borrower journey to be seamless for that borrower. But the outputs and what goes to the lender portal is standardized because it's all the same type of information. The FTE calculations, all of the utility costs and rent and your your mortgage on your interest, all that can be standardized. But the FTE calculations can be done in a standardized way, customized to the borrower. So that is in essence what happens. And so we have these platforms, and they're really easy to look at. But first, I want to go back to this borrower journey, because what we haven't looked at yet is after you submit the application, now you have the lender review. And for you lenders, the borrowers are going to have to confirm information. There are going to be certain aspects that are required for the lender to verify certain calculations, verify that they have submitted certain items. You saw our lender portal and how that takes care of it. Then there's going to be this Q&A back and forth. The lender's going to have some questions. How efficient is that process going to be for each lender? Well, the touch points there are this portal, message board, the online payroll processing reports. You're going to have to go back and run another report if the lender doesn't have exactly what they want. You've got all the CPAs and attorneys and advisors and online articles that you're going to be searching to make sure that you've done everything right, emails, phone calls. The lender can easily have all this standardized if they have the right system from day one. The pain points are obviously the realization that certain rules were interpreted wrong, and your forgiveness is now much less than what you calculated. And your lender has to give you that bad news. Or the lender could tell you you're not eligible. The lender now has some power. And that's an interesting scenario, because you're their customer. They don't want to lose a customer, but this is a federal program, folks. You're getting free money from the government. They're not just going to let you walk away without some form of evaluation. So what if the lender wants information that you don't have? Or you don't have a payroll processor that can get you the 2019 highest per pay period for your 225 employees. You have to go back and do that manually. So sad face right there. That's a tough one. What is our answer to that? We work with the lenders from the beginning. What is it that you want to see? Here are the SBA standardized calculations. This is how we do it. We educate the lender. This is how we're doing these calculations. They can come back and give us feedback and say, well, no, that's not how we interpreted it. We did this during the application process. We were right most all the time because we gathered our information from a lot of different sources. Now we really have that intel, and that intellectual property is very valuable because we've listened to a lot of webinars, a lot of attorneys, a lot of CPAs, and now the mob rule is starting to go in our favor. A lot of lenders are saying this is how we're interpreting it. Well, how's the SBA going to tell all of the lenders they're interpreting it wrong? Unless there's something really, really, devious going on, which there isn't. This is just a fast program that's kicking out $500 billion in 4 months and then giving it away for free if you follow the steps that the SBA has sent out. So if you do all of this, you can avoid the surprises and the interpretation issues and the due diligence deficiencies. And then if you get to an audit, then it's very easy. Our way, it's very easy. But you have to read the rules. When the SBA says, I want to audit, well, now a whole new ball game. All of those required documents that you sent to the lender, that's not what they're looking at. Now they're going to look at all the documents that you're required to keep for 6 years. Now you have to produce all those that substantiate everything that you're putting in writing, telling the lender that it's accurate. So all of this information is going to be, including the economic uncertainty for all those over 2 million borrowers. It's going to be a very interesting game for the audit. Well, we're fully prepared for it. Forensic auditing comes in very handy at this point. And so we don't need to go into all of that detail right now. We have some time on that. There's not a lot of 2 million audits going to be happening right now. But our 3 programs, in essence, here's the fully integrated platform, start to finish. We work with the lender. All the borrowers are all centralized. It's a very seamless process. And any questions are going to be answered once or twice, and then they're going to have a video, and it's going to be in that centralized location. If you already have a portal, which I'm sure you do if you're already at this stage and you have a lot of loans, that's great. But if it didn't do what we just described in the borrower journey, well, we have a borrower solution. We can work with your borrowers. We can process to get to that 3508. And if you don't want to have all that back and forth with your borrowers, we'll have the back and forth. And we'll push the application to you in whatever way you want. We can put it in a packet. We can send an email to a particular email address. We can upload it to a portal. But we'll get all the calculations done and the substantiated information. It won't be as clean and it won't be as seamless as this fully integrated platform, but at least it will take a lot of the back and forth away from you. If you don't want that and you just want us to be on call as a backup, or if the portal isn't working for you, this is a great option. You can become a preferred lender of ours. And we're not going to charge you if you put on your website that we can assist in the instance that the borrower doesn't have all their information, or maybe you don't have a portal and you're just going to receive shoeboxes or emails with all of these items. This is a perfect option. You can become a preferred lender. Maybe you have 50 loans or 150 loans or 20 loans. You can become a preferred lender and your borrowers can come and pay a very small fee, discounted because you're a preferred lender. Somewhat expensive, but still, $399, $499 for hundreds of thousands of dollars that you need to make right from your forgiveness aspect. But for the independent contractors, I sure hope that the SBA just does a check mark. For those that have 15,000, 20,000 in forgiveness, they should just really let them certify that they are a business owner and move on. But if they don't, we have an independent contractor sole proprietor module that helps them just get to that easy form and move on. So these workflows, and we call them these swim lanes, they're extremely important to get right. And we think we've got it right because we've been in this situation full-time for the last 3 months, analyzing and looking at this. So we hope that you'll let us come in and serve your borrowers in the best way that you see fit. And we're happy to ask some questions. As we wind this down, you're going to see some contact information and some ways to contact us. We sure hope that we can see you in the future and help you take care of your borrowers. We've got some time, but the clock is ticking because now they're accepting forgiveness applications. So we're producing them. Are you? And if you're not yet, we want to help you get that done. So thank you very much. Appreciate you taking the time today to listen, and look forward to hearing from you in the future.